Yeah, hello, hello.
You know what?
How you doing? Come.
Dude, you're an amazing guy, don't get me wrong.
Gay.
You're really an amazing guy. But I think that sometimes you really don't know what you're saying. And that's okay, don't get me wrong. And that's what we're gonna talk about. Gaslighting.
But I cook on an electric stove.
You use electricity?
No.
Dude, I make...
You're tripping. I still cook on fire.
But
Why do you think my bars are fire? Okay.
I don't think that gaslighting is something that started recently.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't think that. I just think that it's a social phenomenon that has recently gotten a proper term.
Yeah.
But today, again, as I always say, because of social media, and I'm gonna stop saying that because that's literally what I mean all the time, we have a lot more example of what, well, not what, but how gaslighting affects the society. And I personally think that because of gaslighting, a lot more people, especially the youth, are misguided, have low self-confidence nowadays when they grow up. And I really don't understand how someone doesn't notice gaslighting. Like, most prevalent, at least for me, gaslighting is in relationships. I don't know if you agree with me.
Fair.
But I really don't understand how some people don't see that. Like, you literally see the red flag right in front of you, and you're the one who's allowing them to gaslight you, and you're knowing you're being gaslit?
Gaslit, yeah.
Gaslit? And you don't have a problem with that, like, what? And then, you play the victim. Like, dude, how are you the victim when you knew it was happening, when you had your chance to say, see ya, but you didn't choose to.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't choose to say goodbye. You literally just sit there thinking like, oh, this will work out. I can change them. No, you cannot. No, you cannot. So, I really am mad when, of course, there are examples when someone has really low self-esteem and they can't do anything about being gaslit. But most of the time, most people allow themselves to be gaslit, and they know they're gaslit, and then they go and play the victim. Like, at least to me that sounds ridiculous. It sounds bonkers. What do you think?
The thing that got me laughing, I wanted to butt in, but I let you finish.
Thank you.
We said that where gaslighting is most prevalent in relationships and in online political discourse. It's very, very prevalent in online political discourse. Yeah. And the thing that actually made you laugh even more is I was thinking of a very specific ideology. Tankies.
Oh,
so when
God, yeah.
you see the red flag in front of you. Tankies literally see a red flag in front of them. They're looking at the USSR like, oh, the best state ever to exist. No, it's not a state. It's a state of being. Oh, it's so... it's just so funny. But it's true. Yeah. Like I mentioned, like this... Oh, yeah. We have a video to finish. I like how I mentioned the history. You're right. It is a phenomenon that's always existed. We just started to notice it more as of late. Similar to what, like autism.
Yep.
It's not like it wasn't prevalent. We just developed better methods to diagnose it in the last few decades. That's the correct phrase. But I think it's very important to distinguish between manipulation and gaslighting. Neither are good.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, but gaslighting is just a specific type of manipulation.
Yeah.
Manipulation is much more, vague, much more wide of a phenomenon. Generally, yeah, I think it's become really a problem in most relationships. There's at least some form of gaslighting. You can't escape it. But the moment we start to draw straws and claim that everything is gaslighting, even sharing our opposed opinion is gaslighting, is that when it becomes a problem. That's when relationships become impossible to uphold.
Yeah.
Because something as simple as someone setting a boundary. Like, I don't like you doing that. is sometimes perceived as gaslighting nowadays, which is weird.
Yeah.
Even like the whole discussion of boundaries nowadays, I think it's very, actual. It's a heated debate, but I think people that misunderstand it. People think that boundaries are something we impose upon ourselves and solely upon ourselves. That's not true. Boundaries can also be imposed upon others. The biggest example, a country's borders. You impose a country's borders in agreement with somebody else. Like, okay, this is our country to this point. After that, it's not. It's yours. People don't always, subscribe to that idea.
Say that to a country.
Depends on the country, but yeah, people don't always subscribe to that idea. But at its core, borders are just boundaries that you set up and agree with somebody else.
Yeah.
So nowadays, when people say like, "Oh, you can't impose boundaries on other people," it's just
Literally can.
yeah, it's just false. Like, I don't know. I think it's just the whole crowd who are claiming that haven't really learned how boundaries work. Like, they want to have the liberty to do whatever the hell they want, and whenever somebody checks them or wants them to be accountable for their actions, they're like, "Oh no, you're setting boundaries for me, you're limiting me, you're gaslighting me, this and that." No. It's just called being checked for your own actions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go way back to the tanky thing you said. I really do not understand how, if you're a tanky, and most tankies, let's be honest, are from the western part of the world, people who actually lived in those states, socialist states, they know that even tankies aren't actual communists.
Yeah.
And they, like you said, they gaslight you into being like, "Oh no, but your opinion is wrong because..."
Like, it's not even that. Like, the thing I was mentioning is you can face them with an obvious fact.
Yeah,
you
that's
can give them the evidence, and they were like, no, that's just a propaganda.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why
that argument. Oh no, it's just propaganda from the other side is a form of gaslighting. Like that's what propaganda is at its core. It's gaslighting.
I love the Baltic countries just because of this. Like, there's been a few conversations, you can find them on the internet, between tankies and the elderly from the Baltic countries who actually lived in the USSR.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're wrong. I lived through it.
Yeah.
You're just glorifying something. And the thing is, the tankies are like, "Oh no, you don't know enough, you haven't read up." Dude, why do I need to read when I've literally been that? Like, how can you gaslight someone who's actually been through and lived through the ideology that you believe in?
Yeah.
And you don't even believe in the core of the ideology. You manipulate it, you cherry pick
your needs.
Yeah.
What you like, you take, and what you don't like.
So yeah, I mean, if you try to correct them with facts, they're gonna start playing the victim cards.
It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't, but they're gonna start being like, "Oh, you're oppressing me because of my beliefs, so blah blah blah." Like, no, it's straight up facts. And that's why I always say, like, I, as someone who identifies as a leftist, it really pisses me off when people glorify the USSR and not Yugoslavia. Like, Yugoslavia wasn't the perfect country, let's be honest.
For sure, still was better.
10 times better than both America and USSR at that time. But people don't read up on that stuff. And now this is me gaslighting the commies. But no.
Don't worry, they like a bit of red flags. They're used to them.
I mean, fair. But to go back to the point, it's hilarious how people who allow themselves to be gaslit play the victim card, and people who also gaslit play the victim card.
Yeah.
You can't win in that scenario. Like, you literally cannot win.
Dealing with gaslighting is hard. Like, let's not lie to ourselves.
Really? Really?
For some people, let's not suck our own dicks too much, or pat ourselves on the back too much. But like the first time you encounter gaslighting, you might not even know what it is.
Yeah.
What usually happens with most people when they encounter someone who is a serial gaslighter, as stupid as that sounds, a serial gaslighter, they're usually much more experienced at doing that. They've been doing it for years with other people. So when you first encounter them, you're like, what the fuck is going on? You try to use the methods that you've been using up at that point to reason it, to fix the situation. But that doesn't fix it, that just adds fuel to the fire.
I mean,
So in my experience, the best way to deal with gaslighting is like, state your opinion and just end the conversation there.
that's
like-
why I said it. Sorry.
Yeah,
Go on,
that's it. You cannot reasonably reason and fix a problem with a gaslighter.
Yeah.
You have to state your opinion. Okay, this is how I see it, and that's it. End the conversation there, because it's not gonna go anywhere that's good. It's not gonna end favorably for you. It's just gonna drag you down and down and bog you down with all these things you don't need, all the mental garbage.
I like how you said this. What the fuck? I like how you said this because most of the time, people who start to be gaslit are the youth because they're still experiencing new stuff. And this is a little advice. If a person doesn't listen to facts and goes solely on emotion, I'm not saying that emotions shouldn't count. Like I'm not saying that, but if they do not listen to the facts, there's one little thing you can do.
Simple as.
Simple as that.
Simple
Like that's
as.
how you end gaslighting.
Yeah.
Because if someone doesn't like to listen to the facts, you can't change them, and there's a huge percentage that they're gaslighting you.
I mean, look.
But-
At the end of the day, I'm not being paid to listen to your bullshit.
Exactly.
That's the whole mentality you should have.
Exactly.
I'm not being paid for this.
But let us know what you think,
Gaslight us in the comments down below.
as always. And we'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.